Aye, aye, Abdi for like a day. I'd like to welcome you to this September come ye. Feisgur ma hula dunya, agus facha irif who come ye. I'm Phil for Oor Vyce, and I'd like to welcome you to this grand showcase of Scots and the wealth of talent that exists within it. You'll hear Scots from Shetland all the way right down to the borders, as well as a wee free Oors from Israel. We just love having these events at Oor Vyce because it really does show the diversity and richness across the Scots Lead and all its dialects. So all that's left for me to say now is sit back and enjoy. Okay, welcome everybody to the September Come All Ye. It's been a while since we had the last scene. I think the last scene was Barnes Nacht. So aye, I can't think why we've been so slow off the mark. Been busy in the background and in Oor Vyce, thinking about the Scottish Languages Act, should I say, that's gone through the sort of early motions just now. The civil servants are busy doing a sort of population-wide survey, I know, and we are due to hopefully meet up with them very soon to say our piece on that. So work's ongoing. So I think it's enough a positive time for Scots in general. There's a lot of suing out there on the internet. Sometimes when you jump up Baidu along on Twitter, you kind of get sucked up in some of it. But there's and amongst some of the negative noise of folks saying Scots isn't a language and stuff like that, there's an awful lot of positive stuff being done. So I personally think it's a great time for our lead. So we've got a range of Falconacht. We'll be on for about the next hour or so. So we've got a great range of poems and a couple of slightly different things to show you an act and so that'll be good. So without further ado, I'll stop rabbiting on and pass over to Chris. He's got the honour of being first in line tonight. What are you doing tonight, Chris?
Yes, thank you. This is Heralds o' a Keeper. A fish sailed after war. He was dressed in skill armour, through a telescope o' tar, hands caught knives like Excalibur. His punt at the harbour, made by walrus carpenters, with the gladiators o' seals, eels, whales and lobsters. Ert riven in fractures, the pokered sky o' embers burst out a cucumber, and mine became centaurs. Lilliput greengrocers in the crystal decanters, ships and bottles hide my santers, waltz and sat and pepper. Beasts nipped upo the ladders, spun by fair isle speeders, the cocoons o' batter were submarines in ditch water. Hawk treasured trenches o' the gutter, bullets served by wicked waiters, squads o' gluffisome critters, and clocks turned to bread and butter. Heralds o' kippers, fiddle tunes fae grasshoppers, werewolves snarled out the orders to the lieutenant shoulders. Shells whispered the secret cures, places wrestled to a steward, folk carted out the back door, through the press we met a sewer. The bogs were the king's soldiers, hoops, plugs by pleated anchors, reek fae cannon noses smouldered, quadrilles upo a silver platter. Goblets and runes o' burn water, tablets o' words wi' hammered letters, plains eclipse cra's in a flutter, and tay-leaf readings fae well water. Flashes winked in the saucer, where Leo and Pisces loitered, signs o' rock, pepper and scissors, the weapons fae the drawers. Sheep and gels staked and tidied, bolted boxes that were barred, Crugan fae the whipping wider, banshees wee snakes o' hair. Families in a cinder quivered twartry vowels in prayer, lambs and calves in thunder, sheep that lost their midders. In the needles o' heather flew wee fleeces like sugar, in the snaws o' puder, rigs roasted fae bomb showers, and rubbed for nents the tours, the pests o' the sorrows poor, shadows numerals our floors, stains in fighters' honour. Scrawled o' the skull scunner, when hell's hands hindered, mine were hung, dran and quartered, melotions o' tinder. Bland wishes o' white feathers, the plaque that they plundered, hirpling footsteps dundered, and rhythms fae organ grinders. Gairden sewn in a tudor, by a bionic butler, wi' hook hands fae a cutler, and eyes fan aff a jeweller's. His legs were like tushkers, wi' skin peeled like a banana. He oobed in a mantra, along wi' widowed babushka. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. That was lovely. I'll give you a wee
Thank you.
clap. It's been a busy year for yourself. Did I see that you worked in a book or two? Is that right?
That's right. I've just published a book, A Tune Built Upon Shenanigans. It's available on Amazon, and I have an audio recording of it as well, and that's free, and it's available on Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, and Anchor. It was recorded at the Carnoustie Theatre, the Doubletree Theatre.
Aye, well done. Aye, I'll need to check that out. You did send a photo of the cover and that, but aye, send me the link to that, and I'll have a look. Aye, that's great. Well done.
Thank you.
Thanks for that lovely poems as well. It's been a great way to kick off, and then we'll get a pass over to yourself, Brian.
Thank you.
No bother.
I forgot to unmute myself.
Oh, aye, that's the thing, isn't it? It's nobody does that.
I have several small pieces for you this evening. I hopefully will probably not exceed the 5 minutes. But interestingly enough, because you mentioned the thing about folk complaining that Scots is nae a language. There was somebody in 2016 went and maundered on about full Scots didn't have the emotional depth of T.S. Eliot. They couldn't have written something as wonderful as The Wasteland. Well, I'm not going to read it out to you, but I have actually reimagined in Scots The Wasteland, and I will give you the bit that is just it's a small wheen of lines. It corresponds to the bit called Death by Water. It's deed water. I would have to say that I've tried to make it Scottish as well as in Scots. So
right,
here's the first of them, deed water. So Gilly Vor, a sea dog, 12 weeks deed, wasna minding the scrach of gulls and the heave of the deep, nor profit nor loss. The Doon drag, neth of fame, charred his banes clean, and he rose and fell past a' his ages in his growing, as he swielt roon Corrie Vrecken. Billy or Tim, ye a' ca the wheel, and see fit why the wind blaws. Think on Gilly Vor, eens bra, and as streeched as thee. So I have also to confess that I share the birthday of Mr. Eliot, although I'm nae as old as he was, and I'm nae deed.
That's good.
I'm going to give you three that will follow on, and they were all kind of inspired by Memories of Aberdeen for I used to bide. And it's a sequence for Neen, after Neen, and the final Neen is How a Nacht in these three. So here we go, for Neen. Yalla sun o'er the reefs, Max glinting leames o' windy glass, Purling shafts reflecting off a high-rise was. In the shadows, burnt vennels lie dim, though Nat Hall lingers in the back wings and mizzles down the tunnels in Union Street. Nae far aft all of the day, darling motors held back the licht settle, ready to hurl the hill het length of on road, wanting a sign. And the sky's full blue, nae clouds stretched fight across, nae planes fleeing for here or there or any other place. Nae lang to left on the dwines to swipe and yom, and pure folk ging plotting hame with messages scunnered with the hail bilt day greening for nacht. Afternoon. A file yet till gloaming, and the streets still full of folk in boerichs afore the day gets its rest, with 1,000 others hidden halfs and gills, cout our tavern boards, letters of thirst, pulpits crying sermons of Hansel on the net. And the end of another wassail day till the bars and house scale at sunblink, where green cast to night fat on the roads, still rattling, full of footsteps and late on sangs, sign a kirkyard dark fars like a drape, and lays its bleart hingings our wind and close, up in the ranting laughter in its far. Mean, this is how a night, mean on the slates, skitters its flickering light through the darkling pens, and a fusionless wind soaks to itself in a dwam that stirs nae soul. Neen, but a trek few, stot awa the sightless doors, for far for the dowy glim o' bed or dream, the last licht on the cassies glisters, and a sma rain comes out of nae to weep the lang hake hame, till files soften and half cut into the door cheek of some locket entry, dreaming o' yestreen the fairlies of the tune lie down at last. So I think I'm just about at the end of my 5 minutes. But I would like to give you, as a final thing, there was somebody on Facebook put a word saying, there's anybody here any poems in Scots about science? And I thought, well, I could do that. So this is a poem about mitochondria. I'm not sure if you're a quant with it, what mitochondria is, but it's cell bodies that actually are contained within the bigger cell, and they have a lineage of their own related to the matrilineal line, something like that. So that's what I was aiming at, and I caught this. And I have no idea if this particular woman ever used it, but I hope she might have. So this is my last offer, and this is water inside. The water inside, ilko drap in its wee skin, 100,000 or more cells that mark or bleed, and every single bit of full of water for years longer deed than maybe just the minding we carry with us. Satty water, water for seas gone dry, water that covered hills new scratched in dust or made dubs deep in ocean brine. In 6 sma water lie the parts of stories nae moo can ever speak, mere bitties gathered for a' the span of stories nae moo can ever speak. That nae moo can ever speak, mere bitties gathered for a' the spanning that brought us here. The water inside smells like tears fresh grat, like a' the greeting of a' time for every feather of force, and for a' the mothers a skin inside carries for them alone a special earring, secret messages in a line unbreached, binding us to birth ayont the seed itself, binding us to our coming, garning out of the Waymo years. I thank you.
Thank you, Brian. A wee science lesson and all at the end. Thank you. I liked your version of the Wasteland and all. That was fair bra.
I'll see what I can. maybe by the 26th of September, I'll be able to have the bravery to put it out in a boot.
Okay, you should do. You mentioned the Corrie of Wrekin. It's some stretch of water. I've been over it a couple of times. The last time we went over it in this sort of rib boat, there was a group of folk swimming for Jura to Scarba. I think you can't swim it depending on who the tide is and that. But, oh, Michty, that was definitely no for me. That I'd rather be bad enough in a boat. Yeah, rock. But for anybody that hasn't been, you should head down that way. You can get a couple of boats in for Crinan and then for Cove Harbour and I think Seal Island and that. Very worthwhile. I took my loon in the first time, but he wasn't overly impressed. But that's teenager for you. Good. Well, thanks, Brian.
It's a pleasure.
Doing the list, we're something a wee bit different for you this time. So Marco, he's been busy over the past couple of years working on a game that he's been doing in Scots, and he's speared at us, so would it be all right to come and chat through his game? And I thought, well, God, that's such a good idea, because I think it's often important to be thinking of different mediums, and Scots should be in anything really. And thinking about getting younger folk engaged and talking maybe Scots out of different things that they might not be into is an important thing. So Marco is going to chat us through that he's been busy with. So I think Marco, you don't have a webcam, but that's fine. I've set it up so you'll be able to share your screen, and then we can just have a look at your handiwork, and you can just give us a chat through your wee project.
All right. Hi, my name's Marco. You may or may not ken me for my work on the Scots Wikipedia. I've been putting together this game called Operation Pink Eye for late 2018, and I'm about 99% done now with it, and I'm ready to put it out at the end of the month. And I've had a trailer put together for it and all that I'm hoping to show you the new. I'll just share screen.
You should be able to share. Fingers crossed. The joys of technical things, but I think I have okayed it. Who's that looking, Marco? Is it working on your side? No? Want to join, Marco? No, can't hear him. He's still connected. Oh, fun and games. I'm just letting him back in. Hey, Marco.
Can you hear me?
You're a wee bit faint.
Oh, right.
Oh, it's fine now. I heard you there.
I don't know what happened there. I think Zoom just crashed.
Right.
Let me see if I can do it. If I can.
Oh, it's not keen to be. Got two Marcos now. Hello. Say that again. You're a bit faint again.
I'm saying that Zoom seems to just keep crashing me when I click on share screen, so it can't really show anything.
Right. Okay. If that's these things happen. We did a test just to do now, me and Marco.
We did a test yesterday and it worked fine, but
that worked beautifully. It's quite annoying. We can maybe what we'll do is we can share a link later, or we can try it again tomorrow?
I could upload the trailer and maybe
I
you
could.
can stream
Aye,
it.
have you
I haven't, but maybe you can get other people
ah,
on before then, and just so it uploads.
sounds good to me.
I'm awfully sorry about this.
Oh no, don't worry.
Somebody.
No, my fault.
I think I always can exactly what it's like. But we're a friendly bunch, so you're in good company for this kind of thing happening. So that's fine. So we'll just move down the list, and Marco, I'll keep an eye in the chat, and you can let me can fun you've done that, and I can share my side. Okay, so we'll move down to Neel. Hello, Neel. What are you doing tonight?
A wee bit fochelt, like I told you before. Schreef een poem the night before I didn't sleep Muckle.
What time is it you were in Israel?
It's going to be 10 o'clock in 6 minutes.
Okay. Oh, so I 12 hours ahead. Yeah. You're in Tel Aviv, are you?
No, I'm not in Tel Aviv. I'm in Israel, but not in Tel Aviv.
Okay.
Further north.
Further north. Good. And for those of you that didn't ken, Neil's been learning Scots now for how long have you been? A couple of years anyway, is it?
Schreef it for the next schreef it a poem about you probably can the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Aye.
So schreef it about the experience of going to a screening a done film in Israel. Here folk their own jokes based on Israeli culture. For example, one character is showed through a window. Folk cite a bit of well-known Wilkent skit in which a woman tells her son what is in prison. I can't hear, there's a window here, and she doesn't understand, she needs to use the phone. Or for example, another cat says, oh, if we hadn't gone on the strip, we hadn't this, hadn't that. Folk here start singing a song called Dayeno. That would have been enough for us in Hebrew. It's a song sung during Passover. It's like if God hadn't done this miracle, it would have been enough for us. But and he did that miracle, that would have been enough for us. But the other one, it's like an Israeli in joke, and I think it's the best part Biden again to screenings here in Israel, the local culture, the local creativity, and feeling like a part of the community. And I thought it has some parallels on some level too. So I skrev it about that. Say a rocky start. The cast is born ahead the hine, and gathered is the cheersome crowd. Eens meer zijn doether nichts now hine. See now, the ritual just begun. Yet Muckle is changed and all sin day. Then folk would keek at us as clint. They blithely join their ploy the day. Oh, what a marvellous ascent. The atmosphere has changed and all. Eens folk let loose with careless will. New sitcasts set their leafy law, and slew the mapping yet steed still. Newcomers to the stage forget their pride and daffery. Though they be stumps, they never rage. By us they buy were laughter free. And now begins the film at last, say we, when knowledge came paired of boors and haunts, both new and past, to gopra dance we o'erheard, call forth the youth to lach along and work with all traditions join. We're fair to us through mo and sung in English, and the slide that's mine. Sick jay it is, newcomers lach, and they are us to stage miss near, hold up where hon to cast a lack and cry out, there's a windy here. Nu here's a gate you can't beat. Obody can sweat it. Obody can sweat today now. And she cries out, that comes and greets. We all start singing, die, die, you know, die, die, you know, die, die, you know, die, you know, die, you know. And in their reason, as I've said, this magic isn't prone to wane. Here now, Don Mow, that they just made, I've never heard on. Don's the rain. Lead Umer, Culter, Bindasaw, and Cozy Next created ver. We put oars in Timac to folk that are and folk that were. And yet, gen you would like to join. Aye, 'tis a biased thing indeed, although it is a costly jay. The door for all is held a breed.
That was brilliant, Neil. Beautifully read and especially since you just wrote it. You screeved it last night, that's really, really good. And I see it, I think it's great inspiration having a Scots learner who are here. So we'll just all have to save up now and flee you so you can put your Scots to the test.
Indeed. Bless.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Neil. Right. So just moving down the list, Sheila, we'll get with your shell next, and I'll keep an eye on the chat. Marco's just uploading some stuff that I can share in a file, so I'll just keep an eye on that. So for you doing the night, Sheila.
Oh, I'm doing fine, thank you. I'm going to read 3 poems for a new publication, Northern Lichts. Just you can see it, and I'm awfully pleased to say it's been nominated for Scots Book of the Year and the Scots Language Awards. So if anybody felt like going on and voting, we'd be awfully pleased. And one of the other, there's 3 of us, Sheena Blackhall, Leslie Benzie and myself, and Leslie's also been nominated for Scots Writer of the Year, so we're fair delighted, really pleased. So I'm going to read 3. The first scene is about the hearse, because we're right now in, well, maybe just finished the hearse, I'm not sure, and about right in the middle of it maybe. And this is a poem about being a bairn at the time of the hearse and making wee roadies through the corn, and then kind of thinking about how when you get older, you stop that. Hearst mean, sleek at stoats, we slip it out of dyke, through coarse thistles, Riesling starks, booed twa foul like half-shut knives. We mouded our ain labyrinth, for nae minotaur would roar, nae hostages be sacrificed for ony king. A world of whispering roadies, swirling green corn, far we jinkit and ran, card ourselves deen, sprachlen like pups in beaten hala chammers, breathing in each other's heart hammer. While the hearst means wime, swad gowd through lang licht nights, until the corn was ready for cutting and binding and bigging into glittering stooks, until the clattering combine chased Aberdeen out, down the Hinmas Square, heasing wi' sma hearts, lugs pinted flat, ready to run for life itself, until the stooks stood sillard, weeful lean, under the licht o' a different mien. And next poem is a jump in the seasons. This is back to winter time. I became a granny in lockdown 2 years ago. So my grandson is now 2, and I've been writing 1 or 2 poems about him. And I was lucky enough when we had Sna, that would be, he was only about 6 or 7 months old, and we had a big, well, for Glasgow, a reasonable big fast Sna. So I wrote this poem because I was with him when he first encountered Sna. His first taste of Sna. I try to flick a suppy off a weighty larrick branch, but it's a muckle big plump, fight and caal, recht ower his warm, dumbfoonerd, sakeless face. He isn't vexed, doesn't greet, though his een swal to saucers as I dicht awa wi muckle var. Fit does it feel like this first gillet fight smelt in his moo. Sna tastes a north, the flickering merry dancers, a sharp airt, a spleet new. He laughs out loud when I wheech muckle clouds a Sna pooder off the dark roady leaves, off the winds, sma, fizzy explosions, filling his sacht. He laughs and laughs, murky moo, at being new, at just being outside. This bairn already spicking to the left, listening to trees, listening to the ceilings of feather flakes landing on his skin. And I'll finish with a poem about porridge. It's a wee bit of a rant. I was brought up in Aberdeenshire, and the only kind of porridge I ever kent was what I'm going to describe in this poem. And so it's a wee bit of ranty, and hopefully nobody will take offence if they're into different kinds of porridge compared to this. There's an epigraph. Samuel Johnston, oats, a grain which in England is generally given to horses, but in Scotland supports the people. Porridge, isn't never biled up with milk or sugar, doesn't hae honey, berries, kerned up nuts, thick brown demerara skleited on top, nor almond, soy, or any other vegetable water, and for a certainty, nae oat milk. Fits the sense in eating something droont in meer o' its ain brie. Porridge is made with boiling water, when it's at a fine barrel, fung in a handful of oatmeal, steering awa, bringing them back to steady hotter. Give them a couple of minutes, sign in with a nippicky of salt, and keep steering. Thick or thin? The trick is to turn off the heat when they're aye thin looking, so they'll thicken on the plate. Set out a bowlie of caul cream, dip spoon into hot porridge, sign into cream, ilka spoonful, sheer heaven. Tak tint, it's they. Porridge is aye plural. It's respect. Oats kept your granny and her granny and that granny's granny fae starvation. Nae sa chancey were friends athwart the Irish Sea, their tatties connacht to black heart-scarred glower. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Sheila, and wheeled in with the nominations and the Scots Language Awards and that's wheeled in. So we'll all keep our fingers crossed. Are you going to gang up for the ceremony itself?
I can't manage. Leslie will be there, but and Ian Spring, the Rhymer Books or publisher, they'll be there, but I can't mark it. So
Aye.
fingers crossed.
Aye. I'm a one open that weekend typically. It's my tucking my loon and his pals up here for their birthdays for an outdoor weekend, so I can't mark it either. But I'll be keeping an eye on the winners on the next. Aye, yeah. And
Exciting.
aye, God, you'd be disgusted with me. I love honey in my porridge.
I mean, of course, I ken plenty folk that can't porridge, but it was just fun to write.
Aye, no, it's a lovely poem, and I'd kind of forgotten that it is plural. But aye, it's kind of going back to my mum and dad. When we used to eat porridge at home, Mum I spoke about it in the plural. Aye, and your wee poem about the roadies through the corn. Many a day I used to spend with my dogs hiding for them, and they would like sort of keeking up and then running through the barley. So aye, as ever, your poems I bring back happy memories of childhood. So aye, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sheila.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to move up to Shetland. So to yourself, Nat, for you doing an
Aye, thanks very much. Thanks very much, Phil, and lovely poems, Sheila and Abadi so far. It's been a fantastic night to listen to you. Funny enough, Sheila, I also hear a pretty poem called Hearst, which has been published in it's been published, yeah, in a lovely publication, New Writing Scotland, the 40th issue. Nobody remembers the Birdman, and I'm dealing with birds with the hair, so it should be fun, but I'll hate two other pretty offerings as well. So the first one is called Hearst. Phil de Meril, nu de leicht lewis along, with the merkin creeping early, the last of the simmer gone to rust. Atween the night and the morning, a meadow pipit in a gerse, hunting the morsels like a thief, afar the next gale hellery. And in the eens October, waar de kluts hang to tivy mast, the dark blue light of the morning is yet to live with for the sun, where Hearst reminds us of Ganses, the need to wipe out the windows. Here the systemus here stains, the inner dikes within world, bright Kalishang, speculation behind the glass, just for 8, as starries gather upon the wires, telegraph codes in languages the Hearst records and understands. So this is a first pretty poem for this wonderful pretty collection. And I'd like also to share a poem which is lettered with the dialect as well, which this one was actually in another one, which we launched the stream actually. I'd like to share it with everybody because this is the last poem of a manuscript project I have for a collection. And Jerry Luce for the World Poetry Movement actually got in with the boys. So it's called Earth Song, Peatlands, Winds of Change. Now, look closer. In between thin blue and pitch spruce, where Wimbrel's nest, among heather and crowberries, where merlins hide their love and genes, where redshanks cull, protect their youngs between the loch and a lochen. Home to ravens, pipits and mystic mountain hares, heatherling or its purple bells, way past the ridges of our cames, lotties, halfway house and nesting. the divine sanctuary of life. 2. Banks Brew, tidal power. Stand at the edge of each headland. Turn your heart to ocean and waves, where tides collide and kiss at will, where seepings strive in early June, where seabirds cling to ledge for love, a single egg and survival. Dependent to might the roost, sap leaves a taste on your lips. Hymn. Where Mother Earth turns generous, var after var, where islands fill back with birdsong, oyster catchers, curlews, skylarks, bright scavenger, runner hymns, meadows and shores, the divine sanctuary of life. And then I'm going to finish off with the Laverick, because I love this pretty bird. And it's a very short piece again. It's called The Hills It Lives. Laverick. Here you come hide among heather, gerse, or peatbanks, where cutting gerse boasted of mist or shameless sun. You are soldier in camouflage, deep in ripe hay or rich silage. Your crest arises in summer. There is a twinkle in your eye that summons life among eyebright and turmental, and then you vanish in thin blue to serenade threads for your song throughout July, as if April, a memory lost in thin air, or on a hill barely asleep. My memory remains in your iris, tucked in heather, where time stands still. Thank you very much.
Lovely poems, Nat. Thank you very much. And you mentioned last stream you were doing a book launch. Were you a collection of poems?
It was, yes, we're 20 poets. And this was a collection compiled by Jerry Roos, who's in charge of the World Poetry Movement for Scotland. And it was a gratifying thing because it was a hybrid event. And although I made some very trouble with the tech at some stage, it was a really, really fine launch. It was really good. If you want to see what it looks like Jan, if you can see it, I don't know again. But it's a marvelous pretty collection. So there you go.
Me, I'm getting plenty of winter reading. We are your book publishing across. We have day and night. Just marking a note. Brilliant. Thanks very much, Nat. Okay, so over to yourself, George. Now,
I felt like comedy.
you bad for you doing this yourself.
Oh, just traveling away, you can tell.
Nothing else for it, eh?
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to start with an advert. There you go. Oh, I'll be back to front, I think, with you, didn't I, Ken? But Lala's was started 50 years ago. And it was started the idea that Scots was kind of disappearing from the universe and they wanted to bring it back to life, especially Scots and prose in the original idea. And of course, nobody thought a magazine, all in Scots, brand new magazine, would last. But there we are, number 100, because we're now in our 50th year. And it's 120 odd pages, all in brand new Scots, all new writers, or mostly new writers. And if you haven't got one, then you're really missing out in life. Yeah, sorry, but you have. So anyway, I'm going to read a couple of things for you the next. There's 4 monumentous occasions in the last couple of years. One was Sheila Templeton had a grandbairn, and the other was the storming of Capitol Hill in Washington, which, you know, claimed to be the greatest democracy in the world could be almost brought to its knees by one man is quite frightening. So I wrote a piece called Screeve It after the storming of Capitol Hill, Washington. And I think actually I screeved it the very next day. So it goes like this. And it wasn't in Lands 100, it was actually in Lands 99. I'm fearful of this weary wind, I dinna ken the sang it sings. It bids ill will with its whine and moan, I canna rest this nicht ava. I ken it's rumbling through the glen, and the way it burrows round the ben. I dinna fear for the smoor and snaw, it's natural like, you mun stan or fall. I ken it sook through simmer dim, as it weaves in air mang leafy limbs. I ken it's bite, when winter scurries through the north. You hap it up and carry on. But the wind this nicht is a yont day traits. It doesnae rattle yet nor slate, but greets like a wane that's all done by, and hurts sore muckle to really cry. This weary wind as it sears my soul, a slithering call I cannae thole. It braks my heart and bids nae wheel, a fear for the morn and fit it browns. So that's that one, Screeve It after the storming of Capitol Hill. And it's not finished yet, is it, with Donald Trump and his nonsense? So God knows where that's going to finish up. Nice to hear all the talk about the birdies up in Shetland. I'll be going up to Shetland myself in October for the Accordion Fiddle Festival. So they were talking about lavericks, and I just happened to have a wee one here about lavericks as well. So I thought I'd read it. It was published in Gallus or one of the things. And kind of fond of it myself, I hate to say. So it's cried the lavericks sang. Hey, you doing there? Aye, you. I'm speaking to you. I'm nae up here for the good of my health, you ken. Nae me. I'm a disciple. I done the hang around here all day, you ken. Singing awa to linties, stags and tods. I hae better things to do. Ilka time I see any of you poor craters, I hae to sklim up, heach in the lift, and start singing awa. I'm an epistle when you want to put it that way. My role in life is to draw you out, take you out of yourself, and to raise your in frae the grun. There you were, he'd done, illegally thinking in all the material things you didn't really need. iPads, fancy phones, new car, new kitchen, debt, and more debt. Can I get the boot from my job? Oh, michty me. And for fit, tell me that, for fit. Look up, look her in you, breathe deep and fill your lungs. Look yonder to the hills, aye to the hills. There's more to life than whigamaleries and high-tech hedrum hose. That's my message to you, when you want to take it. But it's up to yourself. Carry on, heed doon, gossip hurt it, or tak tent. Please yourself. I've done my bit, gave my bit spiel. Time to gang back to the wife and bairns. Ching ching, I knew. Bye bye. So that's it, the Laverick song. I've nothing else for you. That's enough.
Oh, that was just rare. And Wheel Dean in 100 editions of the Lawlands is
yeah, it's amazing. I mean, can you imagine a magazine that's on Scots lasting that long, you know?
Mhm.
I'm sure nobody thought it would last that long, but there you go.
Well,
And
here,
you're good for the 100.
I was about to say, here's to 100, Mayor.
Oh, I'll have a wee drink after this is over.
Oh, I'm just sipping, so talking.
What have you got there? What kind?
Oh, I've a Jura. I'm a sweet,
very nice.
I grew up in Glenlivet, but
Did you?
partial to the West Coast whiskies.
A bit of a Neel Lex myself, but yeah, Jura's good.
A great wee distillery to visit and
Yeah. Can it will.
Right.
By absorption. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Fair enjoyed that. Now we're up to the northeast again, and to yourself, Jill. We've got a wee film, haven't we, to share. I wonder if you could tell us a wee bit about yourself and Doric TV.
Right, Phil. Well, just in case your technology doesn't work, and I have every faith that it will, Phil.
Well, I do I can, but I'll do my best.
I'll maybe just get a wee bit more insight to the film,
Aye.
just in case it doesn't work. Yeah, well, I must admit, I'm really impressed to hear all the voices of Scotland here. And my goodness, who says that Scots is not a language? Because it's not just a language, it's a dialect, and where everybody's from across Scotland. I'm really, really impressed with just being able to log into this. Right, well, my background is I live in Cruden Bay, which is in between Aberdeen and Peterhead, very much Doric. I came from a Ferrum, so I was delighted to hear about the Hearst, the harvest. 2 years ago, I went into Shieldon. I gave up my job because my partner's got a serious blood cancer. And I decided then that I needed to do something creative with my life or I would not survive. That was basically it. So anyway, I did do a wee bit amateur videographing. I don't know what the word is, Phil. I did some amateur videos anyway prior to this, and I got somebody in the village to set up a website for me. And then from the website, we actually thought the idea of having a platform like Doric TV, because what we felt was, I think I've amassed 160 videos now. They're all across the board, these videos. They're about my homeland. They're, interviews that I've done with many people that I've just been able to tap into through Zoom, being in Shieldon. There's a lot of people from Aberdeenshire speaking. I was also, before Shieldon, I was able to go out and about and do some videoing with our oral history with some other folk, which I found extremely interesting. And it was their stories that they told me, it was either fishing wifeys or farming wifeys, or, and I just thought, we've got this such a lot of heritage, history, culture, and I just wanted to see if I could do in a wee bit to try to bring stuff together. So that's what I did. The website is www.doricfuture.co.uk. And if you go into that website and scroll down to the bottom, scroll down to the fit, you'll come across a bar. It says Doric Future on YouTube. If you press onto that button, you'll actually get access to all my videos there. And I think there's about 160. Sitting at home, it's not been easy because you have to crunk your own show, and it's not easy because most of the time you've got nobody to sort of banter or get ideas from. So it's not been easy, but I've just been determined to keep going. So just before Christmas, there was a call out for the Doric Film Festival, and I thought, oh Lord, I wonder if I should. And I thought, go on, Jill, you're gonna get loose in the head. So being in Shieldon, again, I say it wasn't easy because I thought I needed to call in a few other people so that we could create a film which was prevalent to the theme, which was a sense of time. And now my website is called Doric Future. So I thought, well, wait a minute, we've got to start here, Doric Future. But then I thought, well, wait a minute, we're not just, we're presenting stuff, my videos are for the future because I'm hopefully getting them all archived at some point so that they will be there for future reference. But I also thought about, wait a minute, we've had a past and we're in the present. So actually I tried to put it all together in my head and think, okay, where have we been in the past with our language and culture? Where are we now in the present? And what do we hope we will be in the future? So it's actually, it starts off with very grassroots farming and then fishing. And what I think is about it is when the farmer is speaking about past farming and when the fisherman for Peterhead is speaking about his parents did in the fishing industry, you'll notice there is images of a large group of people. So what I thought is the language, it's not just about a language, it's about people, who we are, how we fit together, communities of people, especially through work. And I suppose in the northeast of Scotland, we've been very prominent. We've been in in the past farming and fishing, and that's what we are. That's made us what we are today. Maybe not so obvious now, but I've still got farming right in the heart of me, and fisher folk have still got fishing right in the heart of them. So therefore, I thought about it, and just not just about the language, but actually what the language meant and what we mean together as people. So it was more on that lines that I was thinking about the film. And I also wanted to think, well, okay, we've come from communities of folk that have been bound together by their work related. And times is changing, because if I look in farming, you'll find that you'll get one money in a tractor, or you'll get one money in a big combine. Whereas long ago, you would have got a hell lot of folk out in a park doing all these different jobs, and it was very labour intensive. And, I was thinking about my situation now that I'd given up my job, and I was sitting at home in Shieldon, and I was thinking, gosh, you are isolated, Shell. You are isolated. And I think what gave me a sense of courage to continue with my journey, or where I am at the moment, was looking back into my past. And I thought to myself, how did they survive? How did these folks, how did my forefathers survive in really, difficult times? And I thought it was the togetherness. They were together as a culture of people. So then that's what I thought, I need to tap into folk. So that's why I started my Doric Future thing, my website. So I could tap into people, albeit online. And that's how I did it. And that's how I continued to do it. So therefore, that's how I entered the Doric Film Festival. It took me a long time to even think about the theme and how I could present it. I mean, I'm the professional, and who I would get to be in the film. And I think the bigger difficulty I had is, after I got the sort of script written, was how will I get these people out there to film themselves, because I couldn't go out and film them. So I had to actually get them to say, well, get your iPhone and frame yourself in the frame in front of your phone and speak. So if we took one shot, they took about 20 shots to try to get themselves in the frame. So I'll tell you, by the time I got that film finished, I was just about having a nervous breakdown, because none of us had entered the Doric Film Festival before. None of us are filmers. We're nothing, we're ordinary folk at home, sitting at home. So anyway, put it all together and we sent it off, and we thought, well, that's it. I never ever thought that it would win, but it did. I couldn't believe it. But I can see why it kind of won, because it was Doric through and through. It wasn't just about the language. It was about a culture. It was about a culture of people. It's what they did together. But it was also, I think the theme was also about a sense of time, the time we're in just now. It's kind of crucial time. We're looking at the planet, it's very, the buzz, saving the planet and all that. So I think we had to really, think about that. And we've added that wee bit, through it for ourselves. And it's not just about the survival of a language and a culture, and people in Scotland. It's culture all over the world. It's actually about looking at the planet and what's going on just now. So there was a lot in it. And yeah, that's just about it. Folks.
No, that's a brilliant introduction to it, Jill. And when we first spoke a couple of months ago, and I went and had a look at the archive of work that you've done, and all the wee films and that. It's awful impressive and a testament to your own hard work. So I kind of had a look at Doric Future's films and that, and I would encourage you to do so. So I'm going to share my screen now, and we can all just sit back and watch the film itself. Now, hopefully this is all going to work magically. So, yep, you'll see here. And if I press play on here.
Time flees. Time marches on. Time waits for no man. The clock is ticking on the world, and humanity is in the midst of a Muckle reset, giving us the opportunity to change the why we care for the planet and the things that give us our unique sense of self. Our Doric dialect, at an individual and community level, plays an important part in that identity. The following voices came together virtually during the isolation of the pandemic. We hope our hearts speak to yours.
In days long past, the ground was worked with joch, uncompleted folk. Back then, the countryside was strewn with crafts and small farms. The folk kneeled together and helped one another. In their speak was a rich, descriptive Doric. Doric echoed off a staden was as the grieve got out his orders. It was spoken on the kitchen table, and at night both the ballads were sung. The work was driven by the seasons, the weather, and a deep respect for the natural world. In winter there was neeps to poo and packs to plough, ploughing so man and horse in perfect harmony. Springtime was about getting to seed corn sown. In summer there was neeps to chow and hay to mark. But it was September when the corn was cut. It was then stucked afore being carted back to the stadium to be bigged into rocks in the corn yard. And so the year come full circle.
I was brought up in Peterhead. My folk were fisher folk. My mother worked at the gutting and fill it in, and my dad was a cooper, making the barrels for a herring. Coopering was a hard life. For your house, you could hear the rips of the bandsaw and the hammering for the coopers, driving the hoops, doing all the timber staves all day. The smell of smoke and timber was in the air all the time. My ma, she worked as a filler down the Kipling yard across the road for the house. She'd fillet the fish at a fearsome rate, with knives as sharp as you could shave your very face with. Every morning she'd wrap her fingers with the clooties afore she got out, just to try and save her hands a bit. But the cooperage in the fish yards have long gone. Fish boxes and barrels are plastic now, nae timber. The same plastic that'll last forever, and you can't get rid of it. Unlike the old Doric words and way of life that has disappeared with the barrels. Let's hear for the voice of Doric present.
The echoes of the past remind us that we stand deep-rooted and tied with the heartstrings to this place we call home. And maybe there's a lot we can learn for those hardy, braid-spicking, resilient folk that work at the land and the sea. But time doesn't stand still. The way we live has changed. Industries have transformed and we communicate on Zoom, mobile phones and social media. And while the benefits of technology are money, we need to be mindful that we didn't lose our humanity.
Our Doric dialect is constantly evolving and adapting, and is still a feature of our everyday life. Nobody kens what lies ahead for our language, and mankind faces greater challenges of COVID, climate change, division, economic instability, intolerance, and war. But we plant seeds every day, and every thought, word and action impacting on our future. And there's no time like the present to start changing our ways. Nature shows us that there is always hope, and we hope things are possible. Now, let's hear for Doric future.
We're a part of a global family, and we need to put our arms around our world like never before. Some folk might say, does it really matter if our Doric dialect fades away and language lost like the extinction of plants and beasties is just a fact of an ever-changing planet? But language, it carries our community songs and stories. And if it's not treasured and recorded for future generations, part of who we are will vanish forever. Our Doric dialect, it's in our bleed, and it's our responsibility and privilege to pass on that pride and passion for our language to future generations. The voices of the past and present remind us that change is the only constant in life, and that our thing and our body is interconnected. It's time to stand together to save our language, our culture, and our fragile planet. It's up to us all.
An awful wheel deserved award there, Jill. Wheel did.
Thank you, Phil.
And I think the future is positive. As I said before, I think there's a real momentum in Scots now. And if we can get that sort of recognition that Scots is a lead alongside Gaelic and English, then that'll help safeguard it for future generations. For Ilky Scots dialect out there, from Shetland down to Aberdeenshire, down to the borders and Central Belt and that. So I feel positive about it. So thanks for letting us share that tonight, Jill.
Pleasure.
Okay, so we'll move down to yourself, Rita. You've got a bit of a calling act, so we'll get easy on you. You should have have you got a toddy to help you through?
Maybe after. But I love that line in that film, change is the only constant. That's so true. Yeah, it was a lovely film, and it feeds my pamphlet that I'm taking 2 poems from tonight is called Salt and Soil. So it fits well with what's been going on before.
Great.
So the first one is Diaspora, and it was inspired by the Scottish Diaspora tapestry by Andrew Crummy. Diaspora. There's something in the blood that makes us trickle awa frae these bonny shores and spatter ourselves around this globe. Nae continent bides unmarked by our footfall. Asia, Antarctica, hot, cold. We focht our way to them all, braw brigs and square riggers, mastered by kin gliding our wild waters or small, through the likes of Ulva to Australia, following compass and stars, just so we could air out places where we must sling our anchors and tie up with swing ropes, set down and spread and thread our way through the heart of Alba. Endlang brigs we bigot, and high gates we laid down and shoot with tarmacadam a time. And in the mills, blay and reed, yellow and green, and gowd and siller, burl and unending thraw, flocht our lives for aye into the tartan tapestry that's our world. And the second poem was actually published in Lallan's, I can't remember which edition, but it's called The Heron Trail. I'm from Dunbar, and we have a history of the ladies carrying 100 weight of herring on their backs in creels. And they went from Dunbar to Lauder, which is 27 miles. And this poem commemorates the women. And there's a sculpture down at the harbour in Dunbar called the Creel Loaders. And my poem has been entwined with that sculpture. I'm very thrilled about that. And it's also had many publications, also as a video poem by Alistair Cooke, which is now in the archives at the Scottish Poetry Library. So I also have a wee Clarsach tune to go with it, but my Clarsach is resting at the minute. So I'll just say the poem. The Heron Trail. Mak me a path o herringbone, frae bonny Dunbar to Lauder, and tak me awa frae the salt and the spray to the soil that's o'er the border, where I'll trade siller darlings for pennies and farthings, or barter for meal and eggs, till I turn back for hame with my back bowed again, and my creel fair buckling my legs as I trawl the Heron Trail. And I trawl the Heron Trail. Waves of heather, nets of winds, sweeten my silky skin. And I ken when I'm hame with my ain kith and kin, I'll be in great favour again. For the change in our diet will fair cause a riot, till I carry my lad back to sea. Haud him high, keep him dry till the wind blaws strang, flaps the sheets, fills his sails, and he trawls the heron trail. Thank you.
Beautiful, Rita. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thanks for having me on. I'm having a lovely evening.
Oh no, you're very awful welcome, and we'll get you on with the Clarsha for the next scene. This is during lockdown, I took the bairns and the dog down to Sparrelton Hill, but it's in the Ladder Hills, Laddermuirs. God, the hills.
Lammermuirs.
Lammermuirs, aye, that's it, aye.
Yeah, the Lammermuirs.
And the Heron Trail gangs Oor through
That's
them.
right.
Aye, so there's all these signs and that. And when I got home, I read about the women that carried the big baskets of herring from Dunbar all the way to Lauder and that. I mean, that's no mean feat at all. It was bad enough we wee rucksack on for myself.
Yes, and it was they couldn't put them down because it took two men to lift them up onto the women's backs, so they must have just had to sit and rest with them somewhere because they couldn't take them off once they got them on. But yeah, my wee pamphlet Salt and Soil is all written about things in the Lammermuirs, because I'm sitting here in the foothills.
Oh, aye, that's right. Yeah. Well, I would never have thought I'd gone down there, and I've been in Edinburgh for a couple of years now, but that was a positive thing. We not been able to travel that far during COVID, and that kind of forced you to sort of explore more locally and that, and you kind of find these great wee places to go, and then you learn about the history in that place and that. So aye, so yeah. I'll definitely read a wee bit more about them now. Okay, so thanks, Rita. So we're still waiting. Marco's trying to upload his video, I know, so I'll keep an eye on that. It's still not uploaded. Now, I don't usually do any readings myself, but at the start of this year, I sadly lost my father, and from working through his stuff, I found a poem. So with 12 firms kind of growing up, being doing in Riney, in Aberdeenshire, and then we moved up to Glenlivet for the last bit that I bid with him, with a firm at Dramman, and at the back of Dramman is an old castle, Dramman Castle, and it used to be, the hames of the Wolf of Badenoch. So there's an awful lot of interesting history around about there. An awful bonny bit to the world. The Doric North East Scots live strong here, but you didn't have to go back awful far to start finding the Gaelic history of the area and that. So if you speak to folk, it's families that have been here and that, you'll find that there'll be the mining grandparents and that were the sort of last of the Gaelic speakers. And that was a good example of like Gaelic gone to Scots there. But anyway, that's not what I'm going to rabbit on about tonight. So this poem that I found is about Dramman, and I just thought it'd be a nice wee memorial for my mum and my dad, because they were both awful happy at Dramman. And I didn't have an awful lot of the history of the poem, other than it was scribed by Alexander Grant. He had an MBE. I tried to find out who he was, and spear to the Tom and Till Glenlivet History Group, and still the neck ends. So maybe by the next scene, I'll have found out a bit more about it. But anyway, enough of my rabbiting on. I'm just going to get going. So it's the Castle o' Dramman. Near a meeting o' the waters, for the Livet joins the An, stands Dramman's all-ruined castle, guardian of the neighbouring lawn. Hoary ruin in your story, dark as Livet's peaty stream, are some pages but your glory, gies an antrim brilliant gleam. As you brood o'er An's clear waters, in the meanlich silver glow, does the wild wolf Badenich's meester pass in pursuit o' his foe. Son of Scotland's king a wilding, in his day his name spak fear, to mony a een outside his lairdship, bishop, commons, prince and peer. Long is gane, but still ye ponder, touring o'er your kindly trees. Dizzy's war cry still rise round ye in the winter snell cold breeze. Mony a een has gathered near ye since ye first rose on your hecht, but although your shell man's handwork, you've given ma a good night. There you stand in peaceful silence, gain the clansman's wild array, quait the was within fast shelter, men made plans to steal and slay. Change days new, the noise of battle, o'er the hills is rolled indeed. Livet's glen a but deserted by the race that was its pride. But your was can preach a moral as a stand majestic air. They hae withered mony a winter, and can the folk nae hope and dare. Brichter days are surely coming, stout hearts they braes I can climb. Can Glenlivet nae take courage for the castle o' Draman. So there you go. And thanks to you, Alexandra Grant. It's a nice wee poem. So aye, the Wolf of Badenoch was a coarse devil. Burnt down Elgin Cathedral among many things he did, but I'm sure he'd been gay happy at Drummond, as were we. So aye, there we go. Okay, so let me just have a wee check of your videos. You might actually be lost, Marco, at this rate. And if no, you'll be on for the next. Come all ye. Nope, we're still nae uploaded there. So we're going to pass to yourself, Tom. I believe, not sure fit exactly you're doing. You had a party piece doing a kind of a poem, a song, or a dance.
Well, I think I'm going to send you a the dicht with nightmares. This is a murder mystery that I wrote some years back, and but it's sprinkled with poems in Scots. It's called The Lucky Charm of Major Bessop, and it's subtitled A Grotesque Mystery of Fife. It's got lots of dark humour in it. This murder takes place in a school, a rather sinister school in a bleak part of Fife. And what I've done is to sprinkle, there's one poem in particular which gives a kind of implicit commentary on the main story, and it's a ballad, also very macabre. It's actually a translation for a Czech ballad by Karel Jaromír Erben, who went in for a lot of blood and gore. So it's not really the sort of thing a nice person like me should begin you just when you're getting ready to hear your dram and then go to bed, and then goodness knows what's going to go through your subconscious. So I better apologise in advance should anything overwhelm you when you're asleep. Now this ballad is, as I say, by a Czech poet, Karel Jaromír Erben. But it reads very much in the Czech. It reads very much like a translation of the Scots ballad Edward, Edward. You know, why does your sword drip with blood, Edward, Edward? So what I've done is to put his Czech poem back into Scots. So it's as if it's come from Scots and it's gone into Czech and it's come back into Scots again. And as I say, it's got an integral relationship with the main story, but you'd have to read the whole book to find out what I'm going on about. The Doctor's Curse. What gars ye greet the lee lang day, Doctor o' mine? What gars ye greet the lee lang day? In she were glad to dance and play. Your laughter was sae braw. Oh, I hae killed my bonny wee doo, mither, mither. Oh, I hae killed my bonny wee doo. It was a pear-bit thing that grew white as fresh flowering snow. That was never your bonny wee doo, daughter of mine. That was never your bonny wee doo. Your cheeks are corp like grey the new. There's murder in your ee. It's I mysel hae drooned away, mither, mither. It's I mysel hae drooned away, newborn mischance it in my ain. Let death new come for me. And who will you mend what you hae done, daughter that's mine? Aye, who will you mend what you hae done? Appease God's wrath for your mortal sin at the court of the unco Gid. I'll awa to seek yon fabled flower, mither, mither. I'll awa to seek yon fabled flower can purge us clear and has the poor to con the storm of the blood. And where do you think to find this flower, daughter, daughter? Say, where do you think to find this flower? For the world's wide and the way is dour. And what in the garden grows this fairly? Ayont the Eastport on the hill, mither, mither. Ayont the Eastport on the hill, the dule tree stoons, and nailed there till a hempen cord waits on me early. And what's your send to thon weel-favoured lords, daughter dear? And what's your send to thon weel-favoured lord what made wi' us? You's fairly jawed and snickered through the night. This blessing for me to him I send, mither dear. This blessing for me to him I send, a worm in his soul to his life's end. He took my love sae licht. And what'll you leave your loving mither, daughter dearest? Oh, what'll you leave your loving mither? What petted ye like naebody other? Watched oor ye ilka oor? I'll leave to you this curse for the doomed, mither, mither. I'll leave to you this curse for the doomed, that you'll no bide easy when you're tombed, for you selt me as a whore. Thank you.
Oh. Thank you, Tom. That was very well read. Great as well. And what a way to finish up there and Right. I'm just keeping an eye on the Marco's videos. Who's it looking, Marco?
It says it's got 5 minutes left to upload.
So could they two things? Has anybody got another poem that they could fill 5 minutes with? And if no, then I guess we. Oh, Brian, you got up.
I'm awfully sorry about this.
No, don't worry. That's
at least it wasn't my fault.
No, it's me at all.
I've got something else. I will just give me a second. I've got bits of paper here. I'll give you something new. It's called Buckled Minded. It runs for 2 minutes and 3 seconds. But I could keep going on that, but your ears will bleed.
Right. We'll let you hear.
Yeah. But I confess, this one was a poem that was an example of something I do sometimes, and that's writing in English and in Scots at the same time. And what you end up with is near translation. I was actually speaking to Finola Scott about it because she heard me read it and thought she got resonances of Dylan Thomas, which was right, because the English began in that vein. But what happens, I call it a transliteration, because the two poems are totally different. I will not read the English one, but I'll give you Bachelt Minden and see if you catch the Dylan Thomas transliterated into Scots, maybe. Anyway, here it goes. Bachelt Minden. Bachelt is the Minden for times lang awa. For I was but a cloud among money in the rickled seasons of the air. The sea a blow as far as an eye could spy, and the lan a hen, ling and rosewhin, awat to the rugged edge of Athen. Shores a war in the herber wa, for the sea skelped and lout the crab factory dyke, the waves a yunted, wrastling in the skerries lee. And in the swell, sma skiffs 3 deep riding the tides ebb and fa, with the bandies skiting in the green water below their stems. Forby, I was alone, scuttering in and out of pens and vennels, doon darkling closes, doon to the bowdirt merches of the sea, in and out of coves and gutters, for the last spits of fame wheeped on the wind in and in my lugs. And with the oncoming haar, the foghorn knell our market waves, the licht a been cutting through the gloam, for by that blind sailors saw nothing, heard nothing but the crooning blast and the long stramash of tide. For a that I was growing a while, like some leaf on a spell o' wind, carried for it to some other place, nae mair the hame of my greening days, far fate, and gursled, the times wearing on, I found a giant the alchiels, gapping yet at thon same grey water, sat hippet on granite binks, rising at hinmaist to dunner, by black claith the boot to bicker with some Almighty at Sunday Kirk. So there you have it.
Thank you very much, Brian, and stepping in for a wee extra there.
All right.
Right.
The granite binks, by the way, I was mining of the granite binks that Lord Hay booked for the Al fishermen and set them up looking out of the water beside Bod and Lichtwood. Just to put a bit of context on it.
Sorry, I was getting WhatsApp messages. I forgot to switch that off. Sorry. Rude enough, and you were speaking and my computer beeping away at you. Right, let me just have one check.
Oh, lovely.
Still,
I say thank you.
Oh, Shell, you've frozen. To check it wasn't me, but I can still see something without moving. Marco, for 2 minutes left.
Oh, have I frozen?
Oh, you froze there, Jill. You're still frozen. I wasn't sure if it was me. So it's been an awful enjoyable night tonight, I have to say, and I mean anybody it comes.
So just, yeah.
Oh. No, you're still frozen, Jill. Oh no, you've come back. You're moving. Oh, you're frozen again.
Can I just
The
come
video's
in
up.
for a wee Mindy there? No. Can I just come in for a wee Minty there?
Welcome to a world where you need.
Oh, I've got Marco's video now, so we can get
Just in time.
A quick wee swatch. Sorry, George.
It's no the best quality because it just got uploaded, no processed yet, but it was better than nothing.
Oh, aye. No, that's fine. Hi, George, were you
welcome?
Oh, were you speaking there when I accidentally pressed play? No, okay. Right. Let's have a wee share of this. So Marco, you've been working at this for a wee while, have you?
Aye, for nearly 4 years. I think December 2018. That's when I started it.
And quite a lot of work has gone in. So you've got is it a couple other folk you've kind of been working alongside and all?
Well, I've got I had actors on board to do the voices and have their likeness put in the game. and it was a really good. I thought it was a really good experience at the recording studio when we got them done.
It's great to see Scots being used in all different mediums, like I said earlier, and it'd be great to inspire a new generation of folk to start using their Scots in ways that engages with the different kinds of audiences out there. So so what I can do, Marco, will I just share my screen?
Go ahead.
Okay. Just give me a second. You're out with a bang. Oh, we've got ABBA in there, and I even kent it. ABBA were Scots enthusiasts. Right, I'm going to. So, is this the right video?
That's it.
Aye, and this is just a sort of advert for the game itself, is it?
It's a trailer.
Aye. Okay. Very good. I'll just press play then.
To a world where a united Kinrick never formed. Tensions are high where the independent nations of Scotland and England take on the role of Ken Maxwell, Secret Service for Scotland.
There have been rumours flying about that English election candidate, Alexander Wright, has connections to a terrorist group in South America. We think his intent is to manufacture a chemical weapon to invade Scotland. You have to infiltrate Wright's house in Cumbria and see what you can find.
I'm not sure it's just me, but the sound kind of seemed to have went away halfway through.
How was it for everybody else? I mean, I could give thumbs up if everybody could hear that. All right. Yeah. Maybe it was just your
must be just me.
Yeah. Well, it was, yeah, it's like I say, it's great to see. So the game is due to go live shortly, is it, Marco? Was that right?
I'm aiming for 30th.
And then
the game's basically done. I'm just polishing it up and sorting out some bugs here and there.
Aye. Well, while I watch, we bated breath. Well, not bated breath. That's the wrong expression. While I watch with great interest in how Abdi reacts, and be great to hear some of the feedback you get for your users and that, and full folk find Scots and that medium. So I please do keep in touch with us, Marco, and that. Really interesting.
I will do.
Good. Okay, so that takes us to the Ein of the September come all ye. Hopefully it'll maybe as long to the next scene. But first of all, I'd like to thank all yous for marking the time of night to come along and do your own wee sort of performances and poetry, and Jill showing off your film, and Marco in your game, and it's been really enjoyable for me just sitting here sipping away at my Jura malt. So there's nothing more today but just to raise a toast to you, and here's to the Scots lead, and anybody that says Scots isn't a language, well, they should just come along and here listen to other folk in echt. And that would seem put them in their place, but more often than they folk just open their moo and let their belly rumble, as my mom would have said. But have I been taught that you shouldn't really speak unless you can what you're speaking about? So I do try and keep that as much as I can. But anyway, thanks awful much, Abdi, and I hope Abdi out there enjoyed the night, and this will go in our YouTube channel, so it'll be there forevermore, so folk can watch time and again. Okay, so wish you a good night. Cheery and drasta, and
Slán
Sláinte and I'll look forward to seeing you very soon. Good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm going to be very glad to hear just to
Yeah.
trust you.
Cheers, Lou. Cheerio.
Cheers.